Hey everyone, welcome to Pass or Play. So today I will be reviewing Queen Sugar Season 7, Episode 7, titled Our Senses Restored, streaming on the app and also on the channel. All right, so we open with there's a storm in St. Joe's. Darla has a crew working on the sugar mill. Billy's there, and she's like, people want to leave early. There's no birds chirping. There's no cricketing. There's no nothing. You hear that? It's just silence. We should go. And Darla's like, they said it's going north. And Billy like, I ain't been back here long, but I think we should go. And so basically, they decide to get ready to go and leave and shut it down and all that, and prepare for the storm. So and then from there, we go to Aunt Vi. She's at the diner. Joaquin is there. Looks like he's doing his homework. And, he's worried about his parents. Will his mom and dad come back? Or will one of his parents come back and the other one still, dealing with the problems from immigration? And, Aunt Vi's like, Joaquin, I'm here for you and your brother. Worry about the things that you can do, keeping your grades up in school, being a good example for your brother, staying positive. Don't get bogged down or weighted down by what can happen or what could happen. Just focus on what you can do and, stay positive. Um, and just hope for the best and have faith, basically. And me and Hollywood, we're here to support you guys, basically. And everything happens for a reason, kind of just being a positive role model in Joaquin's life. And then we go back home to Hollywood with Dante, and he's got some bruised knuckles because he's still fighting at school with these bullies. And Hollywood lets him know, before I got, bigger, I was in fights too, but I learned how to be funny to kind of counteract the bullying and the fighting. And you may need to learn how to be funny or something to counteract, this fighting. You need to kind of stop this fighting. And he lets Dante know about Richard Pryor and that they're going to watch one of Richard Pryor's comedy specials. And then from there, we go to Micah. Micah's coming back in town. Instead of getting Nova to pick him up, he gets Ralph Angel. And Ralph Angel's like, I saw that GIF, and everybody saw that GIF, that NFT that Micah created. And right when he's talking about that, Zane calls, and Micah lets Zane know, you and everybody at the party, left my, with my open tab, you maxed out my credit card, but nobody signed the bill. You guys went off to Las Vegas to continue the partying. But, can you give me access to my digital wallet to take cash out, from the profits of me, of me selling that gift or that NFT online? And Zane's like, I can't do that. The servers are down. And by now, it doesn't seem well. I think it seems like it on like some kind of subconscious level that Mike. I feel like on some level, Micah has to have figured out that Zane is not his friend. Zane is not, is he's just not a he's not his friend. He's just using him. He's using him to advance his career or his goals and his dreams. And he will continue to use Micah as long as Micah allows him to use him. And he needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wow. Okay. I said that. Wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah, he needs to wake up and smell the coffee of Zane and get a clue. It's like this man is not your friend. Um, Even though the teacher and Kiki told Micah too that Zane is a little, yeah, they told him he's a little grimy, sleep. They told him that like he ain't figured that out yet. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, but maybe the servers are down unless they lied. And now I'm wondering, like, did they lie about how much it sold for? Did the check not clear? Who knows? But you know, He needs to get his money and the servers are down. So, and two, is this a credit card that Micah owns or is it through his parents? But either way, that it basically ends that, and he ends up, he hangs up on Zane, and Ralph Fiennes is like, I don't know that much about, what's going on in your life and all the stuff that you're doing, but if you from my experiences with chasing money, it usually ends, winds you up in trouble. So be careful with chasing money. And it all kind of sounds like trouble with me with maxed out credit cards and not, not being able to pay your bill and all that. So Ralph Angel kind of gives Micah a little bit of a warning. And then from there, Ralph Angel's like, hang out with me. I need to go and put up some shutters and extra wood up on the Borderline farmhouse. Go back with me. Hang out with your uncle. We ain't hung out in a while. And then basically, they agree to go and do that. And when they get to the farm, the storm now has gotten a lot thicker, a lot heavier. So they end up going inside the Borderline farm to, take shelter from the storm. All right. And Calvin, now we were going over to Nova, and as Nova, she's about to go outside to either put up the shutters or something, or border up the outside of her house or windows or something. And when she's about to go out to do it, Calvin shows up at Nova's house saying he was in town and he was just gonna, see if she needed any help. But he wasn't gonna necessarily come in, but he was gonna help kind of brigade the house on the outside, for the storm. But she's like, I don't want you here. Of course, by the time it gets there, now the storm worsens and Calvin ends up staying in the house. But Nova she's not ready to talk about them or their like past relationships. You know, she's saying to him, "There is no us." We can't keep going back and forth, like we have in the past to each other. We've done that before multiple times and it just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out for us. And they do both admit that yes, they still miss each other. But Nova, she says she just believes that they are not meant to be together, romantically, and she's made peace with it. She's accepted it. She's moved on. She says, she's seeing someone else and she loves him. And then Kyle's like, as much as me, Nova, but like, I can't do this. I can't do this with you. Like, no. Like, and he's like, well, then just tell me to leave and I'll go. And she's like, I can't send you out in the middle of a storm when you try to help me put up shelters and stuff and wood and nails outside of my house. I can't just let you go out there. What kind of person am I gonna be? And she does say that, she now when she looks at him, she only sees that kind of rookie cop who beat that that African American kid. I think they end up putting him in a wheelchair. They almost killed him, beat him to death. But she says that's all she sees when she looks at Calvin, and and that she's moved on, and he and Calvin's like, I don't know how to move on, and she's like, you need to move on. You need to make a new story, start a new chapter. And Calvin talks about how he kept reading her book, The Blessings in Blood, about how she said that he was the love of her life. And she said, when I wrote that book, that was before I knew what you did. And if you had told me that when we first met, I wouldn't, our story wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have become what it had been. If you had told me that, I would have been like, no, thank you, and I would have moved on. And then he's like, I'm glad that I didn't tell you then, because I got to spend all that time with you. And basically to sum it all up, yeah, and basically to sum it all up, the story basically, the episode ends with them actually, and basically, he tells Nova the kind of summary of their story and how he sees it. and how he'll remember it, in his life, in their time together. And, they hug each other and they basically just kind of say goodbye, and it ends the episode there. So most likely, I'm assuming we're not going to see Calvin again. They just kind of gave their overall story arc closure, but it does again end with, Calvin telling Nova how he views their story, their love story, their time together, and letting her know how that's the story that he's going to keep with him, for the rest of his life, and the story that he's going to keep with himself. And thank you, and goodbye, and I understand why we can't be anymore, and it just ends like that. And so that's a good ending. But we still have more, because Darla was right. And so we go back to Micah and Ralph Angel. They're inside the Borderlawn home, just kind of waiting out the storm. And randomly, they hear this knock on the door, and this guy comes in a poncho. I still got a poncho. I ain't even judging. Ponchos are good for those raining cats and dog kind of days. Sometimes your umbrella ain't gonna do nothing, and even with a poncho, your pants and stuff will still get wet. But most of you will be covered because you're underneath the poncho, as long as it ain't got no holes in it. But anyway, he comes knocking on the door in a poncho, and lo and behold, it's Chase. Now let me give a shout out to the casting, because I mean, when I saw this man, I'm like, Blue. If this ain't the perfect cast that I ain't seen in a while, I mean, this man looks like the grown up version of Blue. If this ain't the actor's father, then they gotta be like his big brother or something. And you know what, guys? I looked up on IMDb. So the actor that's playing Chase is Eric C. Lynch. But then the actor who plays Blue is Ethan Hutchinson. So they not even related. But I'd be damned if they not related. I'd be damned if they not related. They look so much like each other. It is ridiculous. It's talk about great casting. Okay, but let's get back to the story. And let's get back to the story. All right. So, Ralph Angel and Micah, they decide to let him in. He said he got caught up in the midst of the storm, and he's just trying to find some shelter. He saw their truck outside, and he's just, but yeah, basically he's just trying to find shelter. And, it's just too much of a small world. It's too much of a small world for me. Um, because earlier he called Darla, letting her know that, she won't take his calls and he needs to speak with her. And she's like, don't you call me again. And she just hangs up on him. And she's at home with True, just trying to keep her calm and, stay with her, you know, um, and she has talked to Ralph Angel, so she knows that he and Mike is at the Borderline farm, and they're safe. But he did call Dollar earlier, but he didn't let her know that he was in town. But ironically, he ends up running into Ralph Angel anyway. And so once he kind of gets settled into the Borderline farm, he starts talking to Micah about school and whatnot, his old alma mater, his alumni, things like that. And he keeps talking to he's talking to Ralph Angel, just assuming like maybe he went to college, or he was a ladies man, and all these things. Kind of has like he's full of himself. He's you know he's a full of himself. And then he starts talking about how the Me Too movement has changed how people behave, as far as acting in the moment, in the heat of the moment, or being passionate. Like there used to be a time where you have girls were drunk, and if I was a guy, I could just go home with one of them. But because of Me Too, it's changed that. Um, he comes off arrogant, kind of pompous, full of himself, and he goes to say he went to the right school, got the wife, got the kid, shook the right hands. Now he's running for office. Now some girl he slept with, is saying that he raped her, and she has a kid by him. And now at this point, Ralph Angel's like, who is the girl named Darla? And they all sit, well, um, Chase is like leaned up against the counter, and Ralph Angel and Mike are sitting on the floor. And Mike is like, wait, what? What? You know, because Ralph Angel gets up, Micah gets up. Chase moves a little bit, from the counter towards them, and he's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Wait, let me explain." And and then Ralph is like, "This is the man who raped Darla, and this is the father of Blue." And and Micah tries to get in because at this point now, Ralph Angel punches Chase, and Chase like falls against the wall. Falls against the wall, and Micah like, wait, he's like, you can't, think about Blue, think about True. You don't want to go back to jail, and Ralph Angel don't care. He like, I think he punches. I think he punches Chase again, and then Chase is like, let me explain, and Micah like, shut up. Shut up. I'm trying to. He's like, I'm trying to help you, man. It's like, Micah's like, I'm trying to help you. Shut up, motherfucker. Shut up, motherfucker. And Chase keeps trying to trying to defend him, but he just wants to talk to Darla. He just wants to he just wants to speak to her, let him explain. And Ralph Angel just ain't hearing it. And at this point, Ralph Angel ends up just, he talks about how, do you know how the ground or whatever swells up or gets wet or something? And he, outside, and he ends up kicking Chase out the house, which he should have did. He kicks him out the house, and then he's going on. He's talking to Mike, and he's like, I knew something changed when Darla came back. How she not gonna tell me about this man? And he could try to take Blue. And and Mike is like, well, maybe she had a good reason for not telling you. He like, there ain't no reason not to tell me. And that kind of ends that. So, and then the last thing that happened is uh, Billy goes to stay with Sandy, while Prosper's away, her dad. He's on a trip visiting a friend. He left at a good time, because he's missing the storm. And also Benny the farmer shows up to help Sandy as well, to help them both. He's working on setting up the generator in case the power goes out, and the power does end up going out in this episode too once the storm gets in full motion. But they have a generator, so Benny helps with that. Of course, Billy is looking at Benny, because he's like, I'm a patient man. I can wait. I can wait for you to deal with what you need to deal with. You can date me. We can go out. We can be friends. And so she's looking at Benny, as he's being a helping hand to go check on the generator and get things set up on the outside. They and her and Sandy's in the house talking, kind of connecting, talking about life, being calm during the storm. And basically Sandy asked Billy to be her maid of honor, and Billy agrees. And after that, again, this episode ends with Calvin telling Nova kind of how he will remember their overall love story. There was good times, bad times, sunny days, stormy days, but she was just like her namesake. She lit up his universe, and that's how he's gonna remember it. And Nova's like, that's a great story. They both got tears in their eyes. They hug, but they say goodbye. And again, it gives their story, a finale. It gives them closure. And hopefully she can move on. Hopefully she can move on and have a good relationship with Dominic, or maybe this female friend from high school crush or whatever that they did back 2 episodes ago. However, works out either way. But yeah, so tell me, guys, tell me how you guys feel about this episode. I thought this was a good episode. It was a little bit more slower paced. We knew Chase was eventually going to come in again. Great job on the cast, and we do know that Ralph Angel is not the father of Blue because they did do the DNA test. If this man ain't the father, I don't know who the hell is. I mean, if he's not, you talking about circumstantially looking like, now there are people who are not related who look like each other, but I would bet you $1 million Chase is the father of Blue. I mean, talk about. I mean, they yeah, like what? And the fact that Ralph Angel picked up on it too. I mean, now Chase did mention Georgetown. I mean, he knows Darla's life. He knows her story. So, and I mean, right when he took, I'm like, that looked like Blue. He looked like a grown Blue, right? Like it's like the story time jumped. It's like they time jumped a decade or 12 years, and then this is Nova saying, "Hey, Dad, I'm just coming to help you fix up the farm, in the storm." It's like, man, I mean, the casting here is like it's too good. It's crazy how much this man looks like Blue, or how much Blue like whatever. However you want to look at that, he's older, so I mean, he was born first, but it is crazy how much they look alike. If they not related, fine. They got different last names. Maybe they not related, but I, they look so much alike. It is crazy. On point casting. Great job on that. I can't get over that. I was like, what the heck? Right. If he ain't the father, I will be surprised. Please do a DNA test so he can look stupid. Maury, you are the father. You are the father. Okay. Blessings and blood, mother. You right. You the father. And it's funny too how he acts as if he did force himself or rape her, how she's a stain on his life and his career, not the other way around. And at this point now, Ralph Angel knows, so we're gonna see the consequences of how that plays out. Hopefully, he can forgive her because they both have made mistakes, but they're still trying to work together and get their lives and everything set up in motion. So hopefully, they'll get over. They'll come through this, stronger and all that. But we're gonna see what's gonna happen either way. But again, this is a good episode. It's getting good. The story's progressing. It was nice not to see any of the Landrys this episode. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe somebody slipped in the storm and fell somewhere. I mean, these are not real characters, so I'm not wishing bad on real people necessarily. But you know, but either way, let me know if you like this review. If I missed anything, if you like it, hit the like button. If you have any comments about anything I said or anything I missed, comment below. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I'll see you guys and everyone and ladies next time. Bye.